Up next, we have Exchange Union. I would like to welcome to the stage James Woe and Kilian Rausch.
Hello, everyone. And today, I'm James Wood, CEO of Exchange Union. And today I'm giving the speech with my colleague, Kilian, who is the product director of our project. Sorry. Let's first take an overview about the market right now. About all the digital assets, we got more than 1.5 thousand different kind of digital assets, with a total market cap over $400 billion. Trading volume per day exceeds $17 billion. And to be honest, there are more than 100 different exchanges over the world. And as you can see in the picture, there are 44 in Europe and 66 in Asia. Most of them are in Europe and Asia. When we take a look at all the exchange, we can still find some industry pinpoint. We separate this into different parts. First is for exchange. They are somehow localized and isolated. As you can see through all the exchange over the world, no simple exchange can cover every region and every country. And they got limited trading pairs, and most of them are struggle to maintain enough liquidity. For users, you can see different price at a different exchange. And you will face inefficient and costly cross-exchange transaction. They will charge you a lot of withdrawal fee. And you need to go through all the you need to provide all the KYC information to go through, verify a lot of accounts through different exchanges. Our vision is to solve the problem above. We are the first decentralized network which enables instant and trustless trade between digital asset exchange. What does that mean? Let's suppose there are 4 different exchanges. They are connected through the Exchange Union network. Each of them have different order book. And through our network, they can share order book with each other. Which means the customers or the traders from the exchange can trade with each other through the Exchange Union network. Who will benefit from our project? I think still the first is about exchange. They have access to larger user base through our network, and we can help them to increase their liquidity, thus increase their volumes and revenue. And they got robust decentralized trading infrastructure too. For users, they have access to all trading pairs with the best price, and they can have a clean, beautiful UI instead of verify multiple accounts and just register in different exchange. What we do right now, we build a software for connecting the exchange, which is called XU Node. And the most important thing is that we are open source project. Our main task right now is to build developer communities. I think Bitcoin's opened a new era of open source development and prove that the open source project is self-sustaining. The logic is like this. Developers who contribute code to the project, which will add value to this project, thus add value to the token. So the developer get his payback. How can we realize this? We realize this through our token XUC. And it is like a fee and incentive system. We will reward our XUC to 3 different parties. The first is the exchange, who can provide enough liquidity. The second is the user, who trade a certain volume through our network. The second is user. The third is for the developer, who either contribute code, testing it, or reviewing it. Once up and running XUC reward anyone who provides service via the Exchange Union network, such as relay order book, validate order book, or other payment channel like Watchtower. They will get reward for the XUC. Why decentralized? There are a lot of centralized solutions, and also a lot of centralized solutions. To be honest, the centralized could be easier and faster, but why we choose decentralized? I think the most important is that there are no single point of failure, means there's no way to shut it down, just like a policy of a country give out, but they cannot stop our network, just like the way of the internet. And we don't have any censorship. I believe that's the reason why cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Ether, they are so amazing and good. We got a lot of competitors and similar solutions too, but I think some of them are misincentives, some of them are a little bit slow and centralized, and maybe they are benefit just one side, either exchange or users. Okay, I will let our product director, Kilian, to give you guys more intro about the technology and the use cases.
Thank you, James. Thank you, James. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Hey. All right. Let's go through a use case, a sample trade, how that whole thing works in practice. So as you can see, we have our 4 exchanges again, A, B, C, and D, which all of them have different locally traded currency pairs. And we have Alice. Alice is a user of Exchange A. And at the moment, her portfolio, she has BTC and ETC. And now, Alice wants to buy 10 LTC. How does it work? She is opening the website of her Exchange A, logs in, and enters a market order, say, buy 10 LTC using my ETC. Then this order gets picked up by our XU node, and the XU node automatically will find the best price throughout all exchanges which are part of Exchange Union. In this case, Exchange C, Bob's order. Bob is willing to trade 10 LTC for 20 ETC. And actually, the next step is the real crucial part. In the next step, real 20 ETC get transferred from Alice's wallet in Exchange A to Bob's wallet in Exchange C. And real 10 LTC get transferred from Bob's wallet in Exchange C to Alice's wallet in Exchange A in real time. The trade completed, and Alice is happy. She can see her 10 LTC in her portfolio. How do we realize that technology-wise? So our technical architecture consists of 3 key technologies. Number 1, payment channels. So payment channels, for the first time in history, enable us to transfer real digital assets instantly. Number 2, atomic swaps. Atomic swaps enable it for a trade to be trustless, meaning the 2 exchanges, A and C, don't have to trust each other. And number 3, decentralized order books. So we are connecting the buyer and the seller in our example that Bob and Alice basically just know about each other's orders. All right, little recap. At the moment, it's already perfectly possible for me as a trader, and I'm confident a lot of you are trading as well, to transfer value between 2 exchanges. So first of all, James mentioned it before, I need 2 accounts on Exchange A and Exchange B. I need it to be verified, but then I can literally go and transfer, for example, my Litecoin from Exchange A to Exchange B. But this is relatively slow and it's relatively costly as well. Why is that? Because at the moment, public blockchains follow the principle of broadcast to everyone. So I just tried to compare that what was happening in soccer arenas in the 1990s, where there was simply no way for a direct communication with an individual. So if there was an important message for Mr. Smith, whose wife just has gone into labor, it would just be broadcasted over the loudspeaker system. So Mr. Smith knew about it, but the rest of the arena as well. So that's how blockchains work nowadays. So when I transfer, for example, Litecoin on the Litecoin blockchain, every Litecoin full node and every miner has to look at my transaction and validate it, and reach a consensus that my transaction actually is valid. That's why it takes time, and that's also why I need to pay a quite high fee comparably, because I need to pay these people to look at it and validate it. All right, I was talking about payment channels before. Who of you knows what payment channels are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Who has heard about the Lightning Network? All right, that's what I thought. Yes, we're talking about the Lightning Network and the Raiden network on Ethereum when we say payment channels. Payment channels, or sometimes also called state channels, is just a more generic description. Payment channels themselves are not a real new idea. Obviously, Satoshi himself already came up with the basic principle. So he already, this is visible in a Bitcoin mailing list, actually, everybody can look it up. He already came up with a method and say, okay, we can just have a transaction and just keep updating this transaction if both parties agree, basically in order to enable high frequency trades. So the basic principle of payment channels actually comes from Satoshi himself. How do they work? All right, we have our two exchanges again, Exchange A and Exchange B. And to start a payment channel, both create a special wallet. I call it special wallet. This wallet is controlled by A and B. And in the second step, they deposit funds into this payment channel. In this case, we're having Exchange A depositing 100 LTC, whereas Exchange B is not so sure about that thing, just deposits nothing, 0 LTC. And then the payment channel is opened, and it records simply the balances of both parties on each side. So we can see Exchange A has 100 LTC and Exchange B has 0 LTC. Once the LTC are literally taken out of the underlying blockchain and are put into the payment channel, it enables Exchange A to send Litecoin to Exchange B in real time. And the balance is updated. And now this can continue basically infinitely, forever. So payment channels literally can stay open forever, and those two parties now can exchange value with each other. Somewhat restricted just by the volume of the channel, which in this case is 100 LTC. Very important to highlight about payment channels. They are actually a layer 2 solution, meaning they are built on top of public blockchains, like, for example, Litecoin. What does that mean, built on top? Built on top means they inherit the full security of the underlying blockchain. Meaning that every transaction that I'm doing on a payment channel is as secure as it would be on the underlying blockchain itself. How is that achieved? It's achieved by simply, at any given point of time, either party could just go and broadcast the latest channel state to the underlying blockchain. And then both parties would get their funds back. That's the main reason why I think, for example, Laulu from Lightning Labs, he calls the underlying blockchain actually a dispute mediation system. Because only in the case somebody does disagree on the balances on either side, only then it gets broadcasted to the blockchain. All other transactions happen in the payment channel itself and never hit the blockchain. And that's the reason how it can be instant. Another thing I want to highlight about payment channels is payment channels enable for the first time in history that we can actually transfer real value in real time. That's different to bank accounts, or in China you have Alipay and WeChat, which already enable an instant transfer of money. That's different in the sense of we are transferring real Bitcoin, real Litecoin, and, for example, real Ethereum here. And it's different from traditional fiat money, which doesn't have an electronic representation, which is so-called actually an IOU, which gets transferred between parties, because there's simply no electronic version of fiat money just yet. And another beauty of payment channels, they support routing. A payment channel is only open between two parties. This is how it differs from a public blockchain where everybody looks at every transaction, a payment channel only exists between two parties. And only these two parties actually know the state of the channel and know what's going on. So one can imagine now if I want to pay everyone in this world, I might have to open payment channels with everyone. That's not the case. Payment channels enable routing. So if I have a payment channel with C, but not directly with A, for example, our exchanges here, they can simply route their payments in a secure manner through cryptography through B. Just like with the internet nowadays. Data packets usually don't have a direct path and they get routed through multiple hops until they reach the destination. That's exactly how payment channels work. All right, that's the overview. Looks complicated, but basically we have two exchanges which are now connected to each other with payment channels and now can send LTC and ETC instantly to each other. But there's one crucial element missing. James before said our system is trustless. So what prevents exchange B now to simply disappear after receiving its part of the trade, the 10 LTC? At the moment, nothing. And this is where atomic swaps come into play. Atomic swaps enable the trustless exchange of two different assets without the need for a middleman or any escrow service. How do they do that? By guaranteeing the atomicity. Atomicity means either both sides of the trade happen or none of it. And this is guaranteed through cryptography, the so-called hashed time lock contracts, or HTLCs in short. All right, and the third part, decentralized order books, the third key technology of our system. Basically, every node maintains a local order book, which gives a view of the global existing orders, the global order book pool, basically. And now, if a new order comes in, for example, on exchange C, this order simply gets propagated through the network directly to its peers via our XU node. And they update their local order book, and users are now able to match this order. All right, so our XU node takes care of the order propagation, and we also, in some special cases, actually make sense to not have a direct connection, but rather relay the order. We will use XUC, our token, to award XU nodes which relay orders. And very important, this is also what James mentioned before, we use XUC to award anyone which provides liquidity to the network, meaning a market maker. And we have several systems in place to avoid spam and fake orders to basically make sure that the order information in the system that gets propagated is correct. Summary. We are not a blockchain. We are not another blockchain, simply because it doesn't make any sense for us. We want our users, or we want the exchanges themselves have the requirement to trade real Bitcoin, real Litecoin, and real Ethereum. That's why our system rather leverages layer 2 solutions, the payment channels on top of each blockchain, on top of Bitcoin, on top of Litecoin, and on top of Ethereum. And by the way, Ethereum also includes all ERC20 tokens, which is a large part of the market. We are a startup, so we are a little bit more hoodie and a little bit less ties. And if we have ties, most likely the Bitcoin symbol will be on it. And we are decentralized and we are open source, so it's completely free to use. Everybody can check the code and check that everything is legit and also contribute. Our technology consists of 3 key parts: the payment channels, which make the trades instant, the atomic swaps, which make them trustless, and the decentralized order books, which connects the buyer and the seller, Alice and Bob in our example. And benefits for both exchanges and users. For exchanges, mainly through increased revenue, because they get paid for every liquidity they provide, and have access to a much larger user base, which is especially interesting for small exchanges. And users, which can just stick with their account and trade from one UI and automatically get the best price through every exchange in Exchange Union. And we use XUC, our token, for both a fee and incentive system to set the right incentives. Where are we? Our next milestone is to release detailed technical specifications by the end of Q2 this year. And by the end of the year, we will work hard to have a proof of concept implementation up and running. And mainnet release most likely will be mid of 2019. All right, outlook. We believe Exchange Union is public infrastructure. That's why it's open source. That's why it's free, and everybody should have access to it. And we also think it will enable entirely new products that we simply can't imagine maybe right now. Imagine a wallet which is now able to directly swap and exchange coins without even the need for a central party to go through. Or a merchant POS, which could be very interesting for emergent markets where now small merchants can directly accept, I think Jihan had it before, any sort of those 1,500 tokens and simply swap it into the coin and settle in which one he or she prefers. So we believe actually Exchange Union at someday hopefully will promote financial inclusion by providing financial services to people that didn't have access to it before. Thank you, everyone. Check our website and support us in a way that you basically follow us on Twitter for official announcements. And if you are a technical person, a developer, or have access to developers, we are searching, we are hiring, so connect them with us and connect them to our GitHub repository. Thank you.